Ahoy there! The heat of the battle for this week has calmed down at the Stockholm Opera Studio, and I got the room 411 all for myself, and I'm using it to shoot a video. Thank you for all your lovely questions and your comments, and unto everybody, please, everybody who's new here, please like, please subscribe, share with your friends, and also put a comment down below. I actually thought about adding some comments to the Q&A section next week because there have been a lot of comments coming up, and I would also like to elaborate on those as well. I think it'll be fun, a fun thing to add. So let's get right into your questions. Seth Sundman, hello my friend. Good to have you back here, and in 2 weeks it's Attila time for us. So, what's your favorite language to sing in? I don't really have a favorite language to sing in. I like to taste as many languages in my mouth as I possibly can because it's so beautiful with Italian, German, Russian, Czech, Finnish, Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, Latin. Damn, I've sung in a lot of languages. French. I enjoyed every single one of them. Each of them, they have their difficulties, but you can overcome them, and as long as you just kind of start to get a taste for the words, it's great stuff. What's the highest note you have that you're still proud of? That would be an E flat. Anything higher than that, the E, F, F sharp, very seldom also a G. I'm not happy with those. Even though I heard, oh, that was really nice F you sang there, and I'm thinking, could have been better. So everyone's a critic, and the worst critic of them all is you. What's something you like to sing that isn't classical? Simple answer, heavy metal. The growlier, the better. Black metal for me, baby. Wow, yeah! Love that. Tiina Airaksinen asks, what are your favorite rock, pop, and blues artists? I think I'll do this as a lightning round. So 3 of each. Favorite rock artists, well, where would I go? Chuck Berry. Yeah, I think I'll do 50s and 60s rock and roll because I find that to be the purest form of it. So, yeah, 1, Chuck Berry. 2, The Shadows. It's instrumental, but they're really cool. And 3, I'm such a guitar nerd. Link Ray. I'm a guitar nerd. I can't help it. But yeah, these guys are awesome. Pop. I don't really listen enough of pop music that I could answer that. When was the last time I put on a pop record or listened to any pop song? I really can't say. Off the bat, I'm kind of thinking, Cyndi Lauper, Rick Astley is fun at parties. Cyndi Lauper, Rick Astley, they're really fun. And Donna Summer, the 80s pop, that's fun party music, but I've never put that on myself. So I'm not the best person to say that, ooh, I listen to them all the time. Nah. Blues artists, well, Bessie Smith, absolutely. Screaming Jay Hawkins and Robert Johnson. All 3 amazing artists. I also want to mention one artist who has 1 foot in rock and roll, 1 foot in the blues, who kind of probably the forefather of rock and roll, Big Joe Turner, all the way from his songs from Cherry Red to Shake, Rattle and Roll. It's kind of when I think of Monteverdi having 1 foot in the Renaissance and 1 foot in the Baroque, how he had a big part in creating what is known as Baroque music. Big Joe Turner had a big role in doing this grand switch from blues to rock and roll. That's 1 foot there and the other one in the other. So listen to Cherry Red, listen to Shake, Rattle and Roll. Wonderful stuff. Great artists. Musa Funny, the music fan, welcome back. It's been a while. 2 weeks. Wow, that's not a long time, but still. How do you feel about operas being performed not in original language, like in Savonlinna, the Magic Flute in Finnish or Bergman's film in Swedish? Well, it's a kind of a double-edged sword, in my opinion, because if you if you translate, you don't quite get the feel of the original, and especially when it's music, it's still uh, in oftentimes the text will have to rhyme. Um, but on the other hand, it makes things a lot more understandable for the viewer. So it's also a very good thing to do, I think. Um, I've performed Mozart in Swedish. The Magic Flute is one, where I had the magnificent roles of Slave 1 and Priest 3, I believe they were. And I also performed Le Nozze di Figaro in Swedish, where I was Don Bartolo. So I'm well familiar with the art form. And in Le Nozze di Figaro, it's kind of doing recitativo in Swedish. It's a lot of fun, but in the Magic Flute, the lines are spoken, so that actually makes a whole lot of sense when you don't have to rhyme anything, rhyme anything really. You just have the spoken line, so that's much easier to do in a translation. So therefore, the Magic Flute works way better because it has spoken lines, but with sung recitativo, it can be a bit of a toughie. So, but yeah, it's a double-edged sword. So, next one. Do you take lessons for languages you're not familiar with? Not sure if you have ever tried singing in Czech. Well, no, I don't take lessons because I simply cannot afford them. Right now, during COVID, everything is way too expensive, and therefore I'm shooting everything on a phone, and I don't have a laptop with editing programs or anything. So that's how I roll. But yes, I have sung in Czech. It was the aria of Vodnik from Rusalka, and I had a great luck that I have a friend in Czech Republic. She's been interviewing me for an underground heavy metal magazine. And then I wrote to her that could she help me, could she read this text for me? And she wrote me back, oh, I used to sing in a choir. Would you like me to read it to you rhythmically? Yes, please. So connections are great. And yeah, singing in Czech, a lot of fun. Love it. Celý světle dátile. Beautiful music. Yeah, listen to Dvorak. Listen to Antonin Dvorak. Great music. So, when you prepare for a role, do you listen to a recording or watch a recording of the opera, just one or several versions? Yes, I do listen, I do watch. Well, I'm an opera nerd, so if I find that there is this you can watch on YouTube, that one you can watch, oh, there is also that one, yes, and while preparing for a role, I definitely want to watch one which is as close to the original manuscript. So if it's too modernized, then it can get confusing. Because sometimes the text you read has nothing to do with what's going on stage. And yeah, sometimes directors can get the imagination running so far that the text in the subtitles and what's going on stage are no longer connected for the viewer to make sense. So whenever preparing for a role, as close to the original as possible, then it's a good tool to have with you. I think. Then Zapvarespa. I think I got it this time correctly because it's the combination of the two fantastic composers, as I said, Frank Zappa and Edgar Varese. Oh, both made such great music. Love their stuff. Have you noticed a difference between classical and metal musicians? Well, the big difference is in a kind of a point of view, from the point of view that classical musicians, they always have to meet a certain standard of musicianship to be good at what they do. So, for example, they have to be able to handle some music theory, at least concerning their own instrument, but the more, the better. And also you will have to be extremely skilled at your instrument that you play, so that you can play every single piece you're required to play. With heavy metal musicians, you don't have to You don't have to know any music theory to be a great metal musician. You don't even have to be You don't even have to be excellent at your instrument to be good at what you do. Take, for example, Motley Crue. There's a band, hugely successful, not particularly great musicians, but still they made really good music. And a really good metal band. Not my biggest favorite, but they're good at what they do. And then there are also in some genres of metal, of course, the standards are really high. Like with progressive metal, bands like Dream Theater or Meshuggah that use polyrhythmic elements that can really go over your head sometimes. Or then power metal, where the guitarist has to be a virtuoso, lightning fast, articulate player, and a singer has to be able to sing at a very wide range. So there are definitely some genres of metal where musicianship, where the standards are extremely high. Yeah, so I went a little bit on a tangent there, but I love metal music. Can't deny. I've heard a stereotype that says classical musicians don't like to improvise, while you could ask a jazz or metal musician to jam in the key of E, for example, and he or she could play for hours. Have you ever had a jam session with a classical musician? I've had a jam session with a classical musician. He is a classical violinist. He's a classical violinist, but he has a hobby. He plays the keyboard. And so we kind of had this heavy blues jam session with him and a heavy jazz, because I like heavy distortion on my guitar. So yeah, I play electric guitar, by the way. So I like a lot of distortion, heavy distortion. So we kind of had this heavy blues thing going on. It was a lot of fun. So classical musicians, definitely, they can improvise. But I'm sure some of them just don't want to. And why would they? It's not a necessity. Some like to improvise, others don't. Like in Iron Maiden, you take Adrian Smith, he likes to compose his guitar solos, whereas Dave Murray, he likes to improvise his way to the final product. And all's good. No method is better than the other if they work for you. Then Nightmare Opera asks, my goodness, that's such a cool name. Oh man, I want to take that. I want to be called Nightmare Opera. That is so cool. Cheers to you, buddy. What is the deal with horns? Why must they be in different keys so that you need to write the parts in a different key than how you want the music to sound? If you want a middle C, why can't you just write a middle C? Well, that was a strong question. Well, I play a bit of saxophone, and with wind instruments that are often put to B flat, and it are often pitched to B flat, and it has basically to do with the fingering of the instrument for practical reasons. Here, the composers have a bit of a raw deal that they will have to understand in which pitch each instrument is being tuned. So therefore, out of practical reasons, when you play a wind instrument like the saxophone, for example, you change to another different pitched saxophone. So in the notations, everything will look proper, and everything will look proper for you, and you won't have to change your fingering of the instrument just because you changed it. So the reason is pure practical, that it would be easier for the players, but more of a raw deal for the composer. And then when you specifically asked with horns, well, the surviving horn really is the F horn. So therefore, I don't see why there is really more than a historical incentive to have their pitch different, because if it was just C, because the F horn is just standard, it could be just C. But yeah, it has historical grounds more than anything, because back in the golden age of horns, when horns came in all kinds of variants and pitches and stuff. But such is life. Composers, you gotta know your stuff. Wow, hey, that was a lot of questions, and that was a lot of tangents rolled by me. Uh, hey, thank you so much for following my channel, and thank you so much for your questions. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about this, and help my channel grow. Yeah, that's me for this one. It was a really lovely Q&A Friday today, and next week some more added with comments. Until next time, my friends. Take care, have a great weekend. I'm gonna go and stuff my face with candy tonight. Maybe watch John Wick 3. Bye.